With the 2021 F1 season fast approaching, it's about that time of year where the F1 YouTubers start emerging from their caves and begin making videos on all the preseason hype. And hey, with a good old YouTube algorithm in my favour right now, I might as well jump in on the bandwagon too with this one. Hey there guys, and welcome to FP1, and since we're in the middle of car launch season, I thought we could take a look ahead into the 2021 season and assess some of the closest battles I think you guys should keep an eye on over the course of this year. Before we do jump into these though, I do just want to start by thanking all of you guys for the fantastic growth and support we've seen on the channel in the last few days. So a big welcome then to all of the new subscribers, and if you haven't clicked on that big red button yet, please do so if you're enjoying the content. And finally, if you want to hear even more from me, you can join the Discord community or follow me over on Twitter, all links for which can be found down below in the description. But anyway, let's dive into some of the battles and rivalries you need to look out for 2021. And some of these I feel might just surprise you. So let's begin with the teams then. Firstly, you've got Mercedes versus Red Bull, and we're at the point in the year where Toto Wolff and Mercedes come out and claim that Red Bull have the fastest car and are the favourites for the championship, before going on to dominate every single race. But with the arrival of a second driver who's actually competent, sorry Albon fans, could this just be the year where Mercedes' grasp on the top of the table is finally put under serious threat? Okay, I won't waste any more of your time. No, it isn't. With car design limited due to the pandemic, making up the gap to those in front will be even more challenging than ever. And with Mercedes switching focus very early into last year, they would really have to do something incredibly stupid to lose all the performance that they have. And as we all know, those levels of stupidity can only be achieved by Ferrari. So, moving on from the fight at the front, let's take a look at the midfield, which as we saw, got even closer in 2020. Last season, McLaren would come out on top with third in the standings, with Racing Point and Renault behind in P4 and P5. And moving into this new season, you'd expect the running order to look fairly similar to that of round 1 in Bahrain. But the thing is, it's not quite that simple. It's common knowledge that McLaren have switched from Renault to Mercedes power units this year, and though initially this looks like a fantastic move that will propel the team up towards the top 2, this year was probably the worst time to make such a change. As I said before, teams can only add updates to so many parts of their 2021 cars, and McLaren have been forced to spend this allocation on fitting the new Mercedes engine. What this means is, despite a few small tweaks here and there, the team can't make as much of a difference as far as the aerodynamics are concerned. That Merc engine in the back will be nice, but the benefit is nowhere near as large as it was when McLaren signed that deal back in 2019, as the other manufacturers have got a lot closer with their designs. Okay, fine, most of the other manufacturers. So, who will come out on top here? Well, in my predictions video, I gave that honour to McLaren, but the more I think about it, the more I'm just not so sure. In fact, I think I'm going to pull a Tory government and U-turn on this one, giving this P3 spot now to Racing Point. Aston Martin back as Racing Point, they didn't make good enough use of their car at the beginning of the season when it was at its strongest, and with that fresh injection of cash and backing, the team stand a real chance of causing an upset this year. Thing is, now I've said that, we all know what's going to happen. So that's all the main team battles covered, right? Well, actually, as good as that midfield battle's going to be, it's not quite the one I'm most excited for this season. That title actually goes towards Williams, Haas and Alfa Romeo. The main reason for this is quite simply the reward on offer to whichever these three teams comes out on top. We may only be talking about P8 in the championship here, but as we head into possibly the biggest shake-up in F1 regulations ever, that extra prize money could make a massive difference for each of these three teams. Haas have threatened to quit before, Williams, despite being new ownership, are still not out of the woods yet, and with the rumours that Alfa Romeo could pull out, Sauber's future could rely on a strong finish this season as well. Don't forget that there's also that question over which team will get utterly screwed over by Rich Energy, if they are planning to come back, that is. I mean, the company's about as dodgy as a 1970s children's TV presenter at this point. Driver lineups will also be a factor as well, with Williams sticking with Russell and Latifi, Sauber employing Kimi Raikkonen and Jesus, and finally Haas taking on a brand new rookie lineup of Mick Schumacher and this bit. Come on now, it wouldn't be an FP1 video without a dig at Mazepin now, would it? So, who will the eventual winners here be? Well, it's not an easy one to predict, but I'm going to take a bit of a punt and sit Williams in that P8 spot this year. The team, full of fresh funding from Doralton Capital, have slowly been building themselves back up, and looked on track for at least a few points opportunities last year. If they can just convert these, rather than spinning into the wall behind a safety car, then there's a real opportunity for the Grove-based team to finally get off the bottom of the table this season. Right then, with the teams out the way, let's look at a few driver rivalries now. Starting at the front with Porridge Man and the Dutch Messiah. In other words, Valtteri Bottas and Max Verstappen. As I've previously said, I don't see Red Bull being able to take the fight to the Silver Arrows this season, but I wouldn't rule out that battle for P2 between Verstappen and Bottas and the other Mercedes. The Finn hasn't proven well under pressure in the last few seasons, and only just beat Verstappen in the standings last year. And of course all that still needs the help of Verstappen's Red Bull to spontaneously combust at times. This could possibly be Valtteri's last year in a Mercedes. Now, yes, we may say that every year, but with George Russell excelling in Sakir, the only real way that Finn is staying at the top team is to either beat Lewis Hamilton or for Lewis to call it quits at the end of the season. And quite frankly, I don't see either of those happening. Moving on, I want to go back to McLaren and that inter-team rivalry between Lando Norris and newcomer to the team Daniel Ricciardo. Danny Ric has shown up both Nico Hülkenberg and Esteban Ocon in his 2 years at Renault, and the young Brit would also appear to be next on the hit list, as he aims to make the British team his own going forward. Though McLaren are trying to make it look like everything's fine and dandy, sending the two to record some questionable music and have Daniel bang on a tambourine, looking like that kid in the School Musical who you give a part to out of sympathy, which, in fairness, I can relate. Look, anyway, my point is that they may look alright, but respective interviews and rumours seem to suggest otherwise, and whoever comes out on top here could just end the career of the other. Sticking with the midfield, I want to have a look at that potential rivalry that people seem to be overlooking, and that being between Sebastian Vettel and Aston Martin, and Fernando Alonso and the Alpine. Both of these drivers are big question marks heading into the season, with Fernando coming off the back of 2 seasons in the deck chair, while Vettel switching teams after being fired from Ferrari to land an arguably better seat for 2021. Though Vettel won't want to put up with Mushroom Man here, he still will have to prove to everybody else that he's got the pace he demonstrated earlier in his career. And comfortably beating Alonso, widely rated as one of the best drivers of his generation, could be a perfect way to do this. I've already stated that Aston will likely have the most competitive car in the midfield, so realistically, as long as Seb can keep the car pointing forward, he should have the advantage over Nando in the Alpine. That said, Alonso is also known to outdrive poor cars, seen many times in his career. Luckily for him, he won't be driving past any little car parks either. So to finish this video off then, there's one more teammate pairing I want to discuss, and that's with everyone's favourite Italian team, Ferrari. Now let's be honest here, their 2020 season could only really be compared to Korea. The war, that is, not the country itself. Bouncing back will most likely have to wait until the new regulations in 2022. That said, the relationship between Ferrari and regulation changes is something I'm surprised hasn't been aired on the Jeremy Kyle show by now. But let's focus on the drivers though, and that's obviously Charles Leclerc, who will be joined by Carlos Sainz. This pairing will be nothing short of explosive, with both drivers fighting for that number 1 seat with the Scuderia, which as we all know, you need to be in to stand a chance at winning with that team. Leclerc will have the early edge given his experience with the team, but we're really yet to see Carlos go up against a known force in the sport. Given how competitive he was against Max Verstappen in the early stages of his career, he could really be one to look out for in 2021. Gonna be a bit bold here, but put Sainz on top for this one. But really, this battle could go either way. So those then were my picks for the rivalries and battles that you need to look out for as we get ready for the 2021 F1 season. Let me know what you thought, as well as any you think I've missed down in the comments below. And as always, I'll try to respond to as many of you as I can. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you've enjoyed it. We're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and you guys have been absolutely smashing it recently. So just as I said at the beginning, a big thank you to all of you. As I said before, if you want to hear even more and interact with me more, then you can also follow me over on Twitter and join the Discord community. All links for which can be found down in the description below. But that's all from me for now. I hope you have a lovely rest of your week, and I will see you all in the next one.